Hey, here we are, Tuesday night. Mindfulness. Good to see y'all. My name's Rachael Savage, streaming live from Rebel Saints Meditation Society in Seattle for and with Against the Stream Meditation Center that is located in Venice Beach, California. I haven't been there in months, had to stay at home. It's good to see you guys, though. See you on Zoom. So we got locals to Seattle Rebel Saints. We've got some Venice folk. We got some people from California. We got people from all over. Yeah, representing NorCal, South Cal, SoCal. Yeah, there's nothing quite like community and getting together with people that are trying to wake up, right? There's so many people that are committed to being asleep for sure. So it's good to see everybody and sit and contemplate these teachings in community. And I know it's inspiring for me and hopefully for you guys as well. So Tuesday nights from Rebel Saints Meditation Society, I give a talk on mindfulness, and I'll offer a talk, then I'll guide you in some meditation practice, about a half an hour of meditation, and then we have an opportunity afterwards to do some discussion. So that's what we'll do tonight. I've been going through a series on the fourth foundation of mindfulness, which is the mindfulness of the truth of the way things are. And I know for myself, I always wanted to see the truth. I've always wanted to know. I'd rather know the truth and then deal with that than not know the truth. And so if anybody asks me, do you want the good news first or the bad news first? I always want the bad news first, because then there's a treat afterwards. So sometimes in mindfulness practice, we uncover some truths that we don't want to see. And in our meditation practice, we come across obstacles in our practice. And the 5 biggies are known as the hindrances. And these are the common things that our mind throws up to distort our vision, that makes us not be able to see clearly or concentrate. And the 5th one, which I'll talk about tonight, which for me, and you'll have to see for yourself, is like the biggie, one of the biggest ones. And the 5th hindrance is doubt. So we'll explore the mind of doubt tonight. Anybody felt doubt today? Yeah. Ugh. So there's 2 kinds of doubt. There's the kind of doubt that actually leads to wisdom, doubt that leads to liberation. So not all doubt is leading us down the path of suffering. And then there's the doubt that leads to suffering. There's the doubt that leads to us suffering more about reality than we need to, and the doubt that can cause us to abandon our meditation practice and our seeking of the truth and seeing clearly. So talk about the doubt that leads to liberation and the doubt that leads to more suffering tonight. So the first type of doubt, this doubt that leads to freedom, liberation, wisdom. This is a type of skepticism that is actually encouraged in these teachings. That the Buddha is said to have encouraged this kind of doubt that leads to investigation. that leads to contemplation, that leads us to ponder and reflect. So it said that the Buddha actually said, don't believe anything just because you heard it in a book, just because you read it. Don't believe it just because you've read it. Don't believe it because a teacher told you. No matter how charismatic the teacher is, no matter how, good they're laying it down. For me, I think that a teacher, their job is to inspire me to practice. And I have to say, unfortunately, they're hard to find in my experience. In my experience, teachers that really inspire me are rare. And when I find one, man, I am stoked. And I found some really great ones along the way. So, doubt that leads to wisdom, doubt that gets to wonder and ponder, and actually doubt that leads us to practice so we can actually see for ourselves. This is not a belief system, something to take on because we read about it or a teacher said they're instructions. The practice of mindfulness, there are instructions for us to be able to see clearly and develop wisdom in our own experience. Harder, right, than just reading a book. I know. It takes a lot of practice for us to try to do this stuff. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort to see. This is not a quick path. Although sometimes we can get great results in the beginning quickly. But as some of you know, that will wear off, and we will have times in our practice where it feels like the desert and we're just kind of drudging along and the insights aren't popping as much as we'd like them to. And that's just part of our practice, that we'll have times when we feel like it's going quickly and we are making all these gains and our minds being blown, and then times when it's just feels like we're just kind of trudging. And sometimes that's when doubts can come up as well. So it's important for us to see doubt when it arises, and that's our biggest task, is to see for ourselves when doubt arises. And then investigate, what kind of doubt is it? Is it a skepticism that gets us to practice and see for ourselves? Or is it the kind of doubt that gets us off our cushion and off into the world again, trying to find the answers out there? So the doubt, the second kind of doubt, and the doubt that leads to us not seeing clearly, and the doubt that is a hindrance to our liberation and our happiness and our sense of ease. So this is a doubt that often comes up in our practice, and especially sometimes in the beginning, but especially long-term practice. I think these doubts can come up, and one of the functions of community, sangha, is that we can talk with each other about these doubts. I think it's really important. And sometimes we need wise friends that are also practicing, and teachers and guides to help us see if it's a doubt that encourages our practice, or if it's a doubt that is going to lead us out the door. So what is this doubt? That it can be like, it's not necessarily an investigative skepticism. It's more like indecision. And it can kind of be obsessive. It can be frequent. Some of us have a lot of doubt often. I'm a person that has a lot of doubt, unfortunately. And this kind of doubt we can reflect and see where we're at with it, see where this is coming up in our practice and in our mind. These three kind of ways doubt can manifest. It can manifest in more than this, but I'm going to focus on three tonight. So the first one is doubt about the teachings and doubt about the three jewels. So the three jewels are the Dharma, which is the truth of the way things are. And also the teachings. So truth of the doubt about the teachings. Buddha, and Buddha here in the context of the three jewels means our own potential for liberation, whether we can do it. And doubt in the Sangha. Oh, how often does that come up? I don't know. I thought these were my people, but I don't know if they're my people. It actually it takes me some time to join a community for sure. So I had a lot of doubts about the Sangha in the beginning, but I think that their doubts, they were kind of doubt that led me to trust. Um, and I had doubt in teachers, and I had doubt in spiritual communities because I've been involved in some, and it's challenging, as a lot of you know. So when I first started coming to Against the Stream, I remember uh, going to my first retreat, and there were a lot of people on the retreat that looked like me, meaning, they um, whatever, they dressed in black, had tattoos, whatever. They looked a little bit like me, versus some of the other Buddhist communities I've been in there, that they look like my parents. And it actually made me a little more suspicious. I did not feel at home right away. I thought, oh, anybody can get tattoos and dress a certain way, and it doesn't mean that they're a community necessarily that I would want to join. And so I started to practice, and I started to listen, and it took me some time to reflect and see, like, oh, wait a minute, these people do share the values I do. They do, sometimes the way we look can give us a clue that maybe that's going to happen, but not necessarily so. And so I just watched, and I listened, and I reflected, and I got to know people, and I paid attention to my teacher and the other teachers that were around, and see, oh, are they walking their talk, and are they legit? And it can take a long time, actually, some time, to see if that's true. And this is all encouraged as part of our practice, to question, to see, to find out the truth for ourselves. So doubts about the three jewels, doubts about the teachings. So we may have doubts about the Buddha's instructions, right? 2,600 years old, these instructions, practiced by a bunch of celibate monks and later nuns. And we might think, there's all kinds of doubts that can come up about the practice. We might think, oh, this doesn't apply to me because they were celibate, even though there was a lot of householders back in the Buddhist time. Or it's too rigorous, or maybe these ancient instructions don't apply to everyday life now. And again, the only way that we really know is to try and see. It's like the only way we really know, for instance, what something tastes like is if we actually taste it. So it makes me think of like an orange. We can see what an orange looks like. We can read about what an orange other people's experience about what an orange tastes like. We can look at pictures of oranges. We can sit in front of altars of oranges. But until we actually taste an orange for ourselves, smell an orange, taste an orange, we don't really know what it's like. So some encouragement to be inspired and actually try, which takes a little bit of confidence, dare I say, a little bit of faith, not in a religious way, but a little bit of faith of like seeing somebody that has what we want. This is how they talk about it in recovery rooms, right? Go to 12-step rooms and refuge recovery rooms, and the instructions are, or suggestion is to see if there's somebody that has what you want, meaning the qualities. And when I first got sober, I remember walking in the room and I was really struggling. I wanted to drink so bad, but I made a commitment that I wouldn't drink for that night and I would go to a meeting. And even that was a big deal to just say I wasn't going to drink for one night. And some of you guys can relate to that. And when I went there, there was, of course, there was a bunch of stuff I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that I was there at all. But I didn't like that, there was the word God on the wall. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like. But I saw there were people there that were laughing, they were smiling, they had a sense of happiness and ease that I didn't know was possible without drinking. I just didn't even know it was possible. And here I saw an example of it. So maybe we find this when we come to meditation as well. When we come to Sangha, we see people that maybe have what we want. Like, oh, they seem like they're really mindful, or they seem like they're comfortable in their own skin. They have some ease. I want some of that. I went to Thailand. I got to go to Thailand with my teacher, Noah, and meet his teacher, Ajahn Amaro. And of course, I'm like, just we'll see what I think when I meet this guy. And he had a sense of kindness and ease. I was like, I want some of that. I was very inspired. When I grow up, I want to be like that. So in that way, I mean a little bit of faith that, oh, this other human being is like that. Maybe I could, if I do these practices, I could be like that. So again, doubt about the teachings, about the Dharma, see for yourself. See for yourself. Doubt about the practice. That's another one that comes up for a lot of us. I hear this a lot, this question. Doubt about the practice. Often about what practice should I do? So there's a lot of teachings in the Buddha's lineage and the Buddha's instruction. In fact, it said that the Buddha gave 84,000 teachings. And he would give teachings as he wandered around and people would ask him questions, he would give teachings based on what the students needed. So sometimes they can sound different and we get lots of different instructions, even in the instructions that we practice in this tradition that's based on the Thai Forest tradition, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and the heart practices. So there's a lot of practices within those, even in the Four Foundations of Mindfulness, Satipatthana Sutta. Like, what foundation of mindfulness should I do? So I get this question a lot. What practice should I do? And it's a good question, although it can lead to doubt of, well, I'm not sure if I should do that one, or I did that one for once and I don't think it worked so well. Yeah, this stuff takes some practice. So I think it can be a good idea to spend time on one particular practice, whether it's a week or a month, or right now I have an assignment from my mentor to do 108 days of metta practice. I did a year one time of metta. So sometimes the doubt isn't going to be lifted till we give it a good try, till we actually put both feet in and put some time in to to see about the practice. So sometimes we can get caught up in trying to figure out the right practice to do, and then we don't actually get down to the practice itself. Wondering if it's the right thing, this doubt can keep us from actually doing it. So we can check where we're at with that in our own practice. And all these practices are leading to the same place anyway. You know, they say that mindfulness will lead to compassion. Compassion practice supports mindfulness. As we get concentrated, then when we practice mindfulness, we're able to hold our mind and see the moment to moment happenings. Sila are ethical practices. Our renunciation practices that we do help to develop concentration. Wise view, wise intention, the first two folds of the Eightfold Path help us to develop wisdom. And the more wise we are, the more we see things clearly, the more compassionate we'll be, the more loving we'll be, the more kind we'll be. So we don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about that. Mainly, we just need to see for ourselves, practice for ourselves to see if it's working or not. So the last point that I'll make about doubt is often, and many of you um, have this, I know that I have this at times, we doubt our own ability to be able to do the practice. So we think, this thought comes up that it's not going to work for us. That somehow we're too damaged, or we're too broken, or we have too much trauma, or we have too much. We can't. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't meditate because I can't stop my mind." It's like, well, none of us can stop our mind for very long unless we're in these really deep states of concentration. So, we're all in the same. But people will think, "Oh, I can't do it. I'm not capable. I don't have what it takes." How many times have you thought that? I can't do this. So that's also where our wise friends and our teachers and our community can help to encourage us, especially when we show up, right, to Sangha, to meditation regularly, and we see each other. We keep showing up, and we hold each other up and we encourage each other. And sometimes just showing up and seeing that other people are coming and dedicated to the practice will help us to get some confidence. And I think this is where people who've been practicing longer, those in our community who have some more experience, we can talk to about this, and they can encourage us as well. Because this is a natural thing that comes up in our mind, this self-doubt. Doubt, and this is doubt in the Buddha. It's that third jewel, or the one of the three jewels, doubt in the Buddha. So the Buddha here means our own potential for awakening, our own potential, that if we do this practice, we will experience the mindfulness and the sense of ease and the sense of inner happiness and safety. And it's also doubting the Buddha, the dude, because the Buddha said, hey, I'm just a person and I did this and you can do this too. So who are we to say that Buddha's full of it? I mean, we can if we want. But it's kind of funny to think that, right? He wasn't claiming to be anything more than a person who did these practices and woke up. Sometimes we can layer a lot more on the Buddha. And it is a pretty incredible accomplishment. But he had greed and hatred and delusion, and he had attachment and clinging and craving and aversion and hatred and doubt. I love this about the Buddha story. He had all this and came back to, spent the next 40 years of his life encouraging people, dedicated his whole life to encouraging people, yes, you can do this. And what will happen if we start to practice? And I know many of you have this experience because you're here and you keep coming, that we will make progress. We will find ourselves suffering less through our practice. It's true. It will happen. And that's the other reason it's great to be around community, because sometimes we don't see it as much in ourselves, that we're less reactive or we're making some progress, but others can see it in us. And I really encourage you guys that see each other to let each other know. I try to do that when I see that someone's really changing and growing in this practice, to let them know when I see that in them, and often they're surprised. So encouragement to let each other know that we see that we're changing, and we do. I remember Noah telling me this story about this teacher that he had some criticism. He was like, look at this guy. He's this and he's that. And his teacher was like, you should have seen him before. You should have seen him before he started practicing. You think he's bad now. I just thought that was great. So the practice that we'll do tonight is a mindfulness practice. And in our practice, we will have one objective. And this is to see in our sit tonight when doubt is present, and to see when doubt is absent. So don't worry if you don't have any doubt. Just enjoy. Well, who knows? Other stuff's going to come up, right? But just notice, no matter what else comes up in your sit tonight. Maybe sometimes this happens, right? When I give the instructions of, okay, look for this. And then people will say after, like, oh, it didn't happen. Great. Know that it didn't happen. The fact that if we see that we didn't have doubt through the whole sit, great. What is an absence of doubt like? This is important. This is important for us to see when this hindrance is not present. And what is the quality of our meditation? And what is the quality? How does our body feel? And some of us, we'll see like we have so much doubt, it just comes and comes and comes and comes and comes. And that can be an awakening too. Like, oh shit, I am just doubting machine, nonstop doubting. Either way, if it's present, see what it's like. What is your body like when doubt is present? Where does it live? In your throat, in your stomach, in your chest? What was the mind like when doubt is present? What are the emotions? And when it's not? Absence of doubt is like whatever it's like. So that's the challenge tonight in the meditation practice. So let's sit together and go ahead and find your meditation posture. And take your seat either on a chair or cushion, or maybe at your home on your couch, and gently close your eyes. And with mindfulness practice, the encouragement is to find your meditation posture, whatever it is, sitting, chair or cushion, sitting upright with your spine up. And this will help you to stay alert and awake. And then while sitting upright, softening where you can soften. Relax the shoulders, the jaw. And then find a posture that you think you can sustain for the meditation period. And of course, it's okay to adjust if you really need to. In mindfulness practice, we try to keep our posture still. As we bring awareness to our body, this practice of mindfulness, present time, non judgmental, investigative awareness of what's happening as we sit. Here, feeling the body, what there is to be felt, the pressure of your seat on the cushion or chair, whatever seat you're on, the temperature. And as you sit, Gently releasing tension, softening where you can, soften the belly, and simply breathing. Just letting your breath be natural, sitting and breathing. And here for the first few minutes, we bring attention to breathing, to gather the mind, focus the attention. So choosing nose or belly, wherever you feel the breath coming and going most easily, and simply bring your attention there. Know as you're breathing in, know as you're breathing out. And even here in the beginning with this simple instruction of mindfulness of breathing, we may have doubt come up even here. Am I doing it right? If our mind, we start, our attention starts to go back into the mind, planning or remembering. We might have some doubt. "Oh, I'm not very good at this," some discouragement. And if the doubt comes up, just name it, doubt. Ah, doubt. And then return here in the beginning. Just gently return back to your breathing. And now you can open your awareness, your mindfulness, present time awareness, open to the body, the sensations once again, and also the mind, with part of your mind, awareness. Notice the thoughts and emotions that come, sustain, and then pass. Allow yourself to just notice what's happening in your body and your mind, an open awareness. And you can bring awareness to the sensations and the feelings of doubt if it is present. Also, as you bring mindfulness to your experience, notice when doubt is not present. Bringing in investigative awareness. How do you know when it's present? When doubt is present, we can investigate. Is it the doubt that leads to wisdom? It is a skepticism that encourages our practice, encourages our discovery to see for ourselves. Or is it a doubt that takes us away from our practice? A doubt about the teachings, doubts about the community, doubts about our own capacity for practice, for liberation and freedom. You're abiding in the fourth foundation of mindfulness, the truth of what's happening. Know the truth of doubt if it's present. Know the truth of doubt being not present. Again and again, bringing your attention back to the here and now. What's here now? What's happening now? And if doubt isn't present, enjoy the absence if it's pleasant. If doubt is present, know the truth, even if it's unpleasant. Now, for the last few minutes, offering yourself some encouragement for being determined in your practice, despite the doubt. Returning to your practice again and again to see for yourself